Question number 22. What do you think is the cause for the rising number of divorce
People
cases?
think that marriage is their idea, so they want to do it their own way.
Of divorces is when couples in marriages grow independently, like they don't should I say they, I don't know, like they are not one. Like they don't merge into one new entity. So it's like, oh, they are married but they are separate entities, and everybody goes through transformation. Each day you change, so they end up growing separately, like with their different ideas.
You don't buy a car for the first time and decide with your limited knowledge of how you rode your horse on how to use it. There will be much casualties. You may even self-destruct. The same with love, my darlings. It's God's idea, a holy ministry, a national service, not a pet project to appease your depraved libido or populate the earth. There's room for sexual satisfaction and childbearing, but there's more, like companionship and who knows, you and your spouse may just be a Mary and Joseph through which salvation comes to our world. But if you are too busy with your dysfunctional idea of what love is, you may get a divorce and miss a chance to be co-parent of a Jesus. Or you may even abort the Jesus before he is born.
This your analogies, man. That's very profound. I shall neither add nor take away from them.
First reason I think is that, or the first, I'll sum it up in one and I'll explain a little bit too. People ignore the main things that they should look after or look out for during courtship, and engage in things that don't really matter. I think, first of all, when you're in courtship, you should look out for the person's character. Things that the person's character, those things that can't be changed. You can't just assume that someone is a cheat or very violent, abusive, and you think the person will change when you get married to the person. It doesn't happen that way. You're not God. People only change when they want to change. You can only change things like etiquette, fashion sense, some little things, but not character. Character is something very strong, because someone's character is their personality, that is their being. So there are always signs in courtship. Ignorance, naive, or overlooking the main things is one of the reasons for that person. Yes,
I think it's modern ideologies. People, the way people see the world right now has changed. Um, People have more options out of a relationship. I'm not familiar with divorce in Nigeria, but like I know in the Western world, like people go into marriage for more superficial reasons and maybe without understanding the depth of what marriage really is about. And
understanding the commitment and the sacrifices and all that.
so it's very easy to actually go in and out of a relationship. There are people that have been married 5 times or more, and they will leave at the slight of any form of discomfort, and I really think
It's due to what we are exposed to as human beings. Okay, some people are exposed to more social media. They think that they have more choices, so they tend to take for granted whatever that they have right now. They think that, oh, I can do it better, or I can get something else which is better, or I want something that is better. I'm not happy with what I have. So basically it draws down to being grateful for what you have. So a lot of us are generally very dissatisfied and we want more. That feeling itself causes a lot of dissatisfaction and causes an increase in the number of cases, because people tend to leave what they have easily compared to how it was before.
a lot of like modern day ideology, has really influenced how people view relationships, and they don't character, like proper character, is not being pushed, and many of the traditional ideals that has helped our parents and our parents' to stay together, even though we all know they never had perfect relationships. Many of those ideals are not exactly promoted or encouraged. Okay.
Times have changed to we're no longer, tied down to what the society thinks about us. 3, women are more empowered than they used to be. 4, there's more exposure, there's more knowledge, around than there used to be before, So I'll start by explaining, I'll say the knowledge bit. Before now, people didn't know much about, mental health, what things people suffer, from just being tied down to, say, a man because you want to be his wife. There could be a lot of things going on in the family, and no one wants to speak. Why? Because they do not know if anyone else will comprehend it. But these days, whatever you say, whatever happens to you, if you share it, there's someone who has an idea what it is. There's someone who would know that is abuse in the family, or that is, torture. You shouldn't be subjected to that. So that has made, people decide, to free themselves instead of staying in a marriage that isn't working. When I say times have changed, with that I mean, think people have put in time into different things. For instance, before, say, before the 2000s, having a computer or having something that you could get on the internet was seen as, a lot of luxury. It was expensive. It wasn't something that was seen by a common man. It was hard to find everywhere. But these days, you can almost everyone, has access to the internet. So, but with that, you can, find help for a lot of things. You can decide to be where you are. You can choose to run away, So when I say a lot has changed, a lot has really changed. Women are more empowered now compared to before. Before now, the mentality a lot of men had, even a lot of women had the mentality that a woman's life ends in the kitchen. And that is no longer the case. So if a woman, is being maltreated, they can choose to leave. If a man is cheating on you and you don't like it, you can leave. So I think the opportunity of expressing yourself without feeling, oh, what would the family think? Not dwelling on the pressure that, oh, you have to impress your family is what is making, marriages a lot, what I say, better now, because people tend to express themselves more instead of just staying in there and suffer. So for the ones that still work, doesn't mean there are no problems, but it just means that everyone understands each other better now. Yeah, so the reasons why divorce is more now than it used to be is because people are more enlightened. Things have changed. The balance of power is no more just to the man. It's not only the man that decides to stay in the marriage or leave the marriage. Both of them can, comfortably leave. And for the Western world, so for instance, say the UK or the US, if you leave a woman with kids, you still have to pay for them. Before now, that thing used to be the case. So if a man chose to leave the family, the woman is the woman's problem. She pays for everything. But these days, if you choose to leave, there's a divorce, there's co-parenting. Both of you would assume roles in the children's life. So things that women used to fear before, like, oh, what would happen to the children, that is not really a problem now.
It's the times that we are living in. Basically, ideologies are changing. Women and men are becoming more and more independent, and they want to stay independent, and they don't want to feel attached to anybody. So when discrepancies happen in a marriage or relationship, and people don't have strong bonds to stay together, it tends to fall apart. It tends to fall apart, and when they fall apart, they split. Now, children who are born into these marriages are the ones who get to feel the weight of the split, because it breaks their world apart too. So yeah, it's the reason for these divorces is just because they were not ready for that level of commitment, or they felt from time past that it's something you can just easily enter into and go out of, and whoever is affected will
figure themselves out.
figure themselves out.
Yes, so it's some degree of selfishness. Yeah, but marriage is supposed to be very selfless in nature by itself. Anyways, there are so many other factors.
So many other factors.
So let me stop and see.